Embarrassing thing to admit, but my life was just wrapped up in what Cody needed and what he wanted and what the family needed and wanted.
Hi there. Welcome back to StarSpill USA, the channel where we cut deeper than any tell-all, peel back the layers of editing, and shine a light on the truths TLC didn't want you to notice. If you haven't already subscribed, trust me, you'll want to hit that button, because what we're about to dive into will leave you stunned, reflective, and maybe even angry. And once you're done watching, head to the comments, because I need to know. Seriously, I need to know what was going through your mind when this started unraveling. Now, here's what happened. This wasn't just another split, not just another breakup in the chronically fractured polygamous world of the Brown family. This is bigger, much bigger. It started with what looked like a mistake, a fleeting Instagram story, a grainy, dimly lit picture posted by Christine Brown and deleted within the hour. To the average eye, nothing but two loyal viewers, two followers who have studied her tone, her rhythm, her quiet courage. They knew immediately. This wasn't accidental. Christine doesn't do chaos, not anymore, and that photo. Well, once brightened and zoomed, it revealed what can only be described as the bombshell of the decade. One line barely visible, alluding to a debt exceeding $100,000. A number two, specific to damning and too emotionally charged to dismiss. Fans immediately made connections, and the theory that followed wasn't just plausible. It was scalding. That Cody Brown had withheld child support. That Isabelle's surgery, the heart-wrenching moment when Christine had to choose between tears and strength, wasn't just a matter of emotional abandonment, but financial betrayal too. Let that sink in. Cody Brown, the patriarch who once claimed to be stretched too thin because of his many wives and children, may have actively chosen not to support his daughter during one of the most painful and medically vulnerable moments of her life. And now the leaks from Christine's upcoming memoir, a memoir teased for years, long speculated and often denied, have begun to emerge. And they're not just about healing. They're about exposing, reclaiming, and finally narrating a story that had for too long been told by everyone but Christine. Because this isn't merely about heartache. This is about control. This is about a man so obsessed with preserving his public persona, the misunderstood leader, the sacrificial father, the unappreciated husband, that he let his own daughter suffer rather than risk looking like the bad guy. Let's go back. Remember Isabelle's scoliosis surgery? The moment that broke hearts across the country. The scene where Christine tried to stay composed, her voice trembling, her eyes red-rimmed, holding herself upright while explaining that Cody, her husband, her children's father, wouldn't be attending the surgery because it wasn't a good time for him. That wasn't just emotional cowardice. That was financial abandonment. That was Christine knowing that no one else was going to show up. Not with money, not with time, not with compassion. And she did what mothers do. She shouldered it, alone, with courage, with grace, and we cried with her. And now, all these years later, we realize the betrayal was even deeper. Because behind the emotional distance was a paper trail. A real, tangible avoidance of responsibility. $100,000 of it. And this is what the photo hinted at. And maybe that's why it vanished so quickly. Maybe Christine didn't want to fight the legal firestorm it would bring, or maybe she wanted us to look closer. Maybe it was an intentional crack in the wall, a whisper that says, "You weren't wrong." I've been holding this truth for years. And the fallout? Oh, it came fast. Cody didn't just get angry, he lost his grip. His sudden social media flurry, the rambling interviews, the gaslighting statements about loyalty and rewritten history, that's the behavior of a man watching his decades-long narrative fall apart. Because Cody Brown has always positioned himself as the misunderstood martyr of the Sister Wives universe, the man who gave everything and was rewarded with resentment. But the cracks in that performance are now chasms. It's because the silence from certain family members is no longer mysterious. It's strategic. And the silence from Robin? Deafening. The same Robin who once cried on cue, who shook and wept on couches, now won't speak at all. And that speaks volumes. Because this financial bombshell doesn't just reflect on Cody, it implicates the entire illusion. The illusion of unity. The illusion of shared sacrifice. The illusion of mutual respect. And Christine, after years of quiet endurance, is finally letting it burn. And let's not forget how calculated her departure was. Christine didn't just walk away, she built an exit. She crafted a public identity rooted in growth, self-love, humor, and healing. She took the narrative that once silenced her and transformed it into a brand. And this memoir is the final chapter of that reclamation. It's her voice unfiltered. And the timing right after the season 19 tell-all, right after Garrison's funeral, right after the family's thinly veiled collapse, couldn't be more potent. And here's what fans are noticing. The timeline, the overlapping events, the emotional symmetry. It all lines up. Christine's photo, the court-like accusations, Cody's live rants, Robin's strategic silence. The unraveling is almost cinematic. But unlike the show, this isn't scripted. This is real. This is pain that couldn't be edited out. And now fans are playing detective. They're digging up old episodes, old interviews, cross-referencing dates, building the puzzle. And when you zoom out, it's all there. The way Cody began isolating wives. The way Robin's family became the default core. The way Janelle and Christine were increasingly marginalized, their children treated like obligations instead of blessings. And now the emotional truth we felt watching it all, it's being confirmed. Piece by devastating piece. And it wasn't just Christine who suffered. Remember when Janelle stood by quietly, biting her tongue, holding her boys together while watching them be dismissed and disrespected? Remember Garrison? The tension, the grief, the distance. It was never about rebellion. It was about self-preservation. And now that Garrison is gone, the pain is sharper. Fans have seen it in Christine's face, in McKelty's Patreon comments, in the emotional void left behind. This family wasn't just broken, it was shattered by design. Because the power Cody once wielded wasn't just emotional, it was financial. And now that's being dragged into the light. And fans, they're not just angry, they're activated. They're reposting or dissecting. They're demanding accountability. Because for too long, Cody Brown sold himself as the glue. But what if he was the wedge? The one driving cracks deeper while pretending to hold things together. And Christine, she's no longer pretending. That blurry, dark, quickly deleted photo said what years of couch interviews never could. It said, I kept the receipts. It said, you didn't just abandon me. You left our children behind emotionally, financially, and publicly. And now the world knows. And here's the kicker. Cody still doesn't get it. He's spinning narratives. On social media, lashing out in interviews, blaming Christine for humiliating him. But what he doesn't understand is this. Truth isn't humiliation. It's liberation. And Christine isn't seeking revenge. She's seeking release. And that makes her powerful. 'Cause she's not crying anymore. She's not begging to be seen. Standing steady, clear-eyed, and ready to speak. And the world, we're ready to listen. Because we believed in the illusion once. We believed in family above all. But now we believe in truth. And Christine Brown with her blurry photo, her brave memoir, and her unapologetic honesty has become the unexpected hero of a story we thought we knew. And just maybe, she's the one who will finally burn the script that never deserved to be written in the first place.
It's fantastic. And if we didn't figure things out and become friends and band together like we have.
He never said her name outright, never dared to mention Christine in a single sentence. But let's not kid ourselves. The silence was screaming. The implication, thick as fog, dripped from every pointed interview, every overacted sigh. every loaded social media video. And fans, they caught on immediately. It was the oldest game in Kody Brown's handbook. Villainize the woman, victimize himself. It worked for years, masterfully so, until now. Till the whispers began. The kind of whispers that don't just stay confined to Reddit threads or YouTube comments. No, these whispers made their way into real-world accounts. Strangers at an airport. Witnesses who didn't even watch Sister Wives but knew something dramatic was unfolding in baggage claim. The reports were chillingly consistent. Kody Brown, red-faced and pacing like a cornered animal, phone pressed to his ear, shouting about legal exposure and muttering one line over and over like a mantra unraveling. I can't let her destroy me. The man who built a reality TV empire on control, optics, and patriarchal manipulation was melting down. And though TLC, ever cautious, hasn't confirmed these events, those who were there swear by it, and honestly, it tracks. Because if you've watched Kody Brown operate over the years, really watched him. You know, this isn't new behavior. You remember Meri's catfishing scandal? That vulnerable, gut-wrenching time when she fell into a digital emotional trap because she was so starved for affection. Kody didn't console her. He didn't offer grace. He turned it into his tragedy, made it about his embarrassment. Framed himself as the ultimate victim while she was left to pick up the shattered remains of her dignity alone. And Christine, she finally stood up when she finally said no more. He smeared her as unstable, manipulative, selfish, dramatic. How dare she defy the narrative he had so carefully crafted? But this time, it's different. This time, the power is shifting. The story is being wrestled from Kody's grasp, and no amount of emotional gymnastics can twist it back. Because now Christine has a voice. And not just in interviews, not just in TikToks or cameos, but in something lasting. Her memoir is looming like a storm on the horizon. And what's leaked so far? Enough to send shivers down the collective spine of every longtime fan. Screenshots spreading like wildfire. Posts taken down and reposted faster than legal teams can blink. The script that Kody's clung to for over a decade, the one where he's always the wronged husband, disrespected father, the martyr of modern polygamy, is crumbling. And with it, the illusion of his control. 'Cause here's the truth. Christine didn't just walk away. She escaped. She untangled herself from years of systemic emotional silencing. And with that now infamous blurry Instagram story, the one that vanished within minutes, she opened a new door. At first glance, it was nonsense, grainy, dark, hard to read. But fans are relentless. And what they uncovered once they enhanced the image shook the fandom to its core. A line from her manuscript only partially visible, but enough to spark an inferno. It didn't just talk about money, though the implications of more than $100,000 in unpaid child support was scandalous enough. No, this time it alluded to something far more sinister. The line was jagged, fragmented, hard to interpret, but one word chilled everyone. Threatened. Christine, the calmest presence in that chaotic household, the woman who smiled, while swallowing grief, had allegedly been threatened. And there might be a voicemail to prove it. Let that sink in. Not only did she quietly endure years of public gaslighting, but behind the scenes, she may have been emotionally coerced into silence through intimidation. Suddenly, all those past episodes, all those moments where she hesitated, faltered, smiled too tightly, start to feel different. Not just emotional suppression, but fear. Fans didn't waste time. They zoomed in, applied filters, enhanced contrast, reconstructed the text like amateur forensic analysts. And what they found wasn't sloppy. It was haunting. Not a full confession, but enough to draw blood. Enough to suggest that the Christine we saw on TV, the soft-spoken, ever-supportive, endlessly giving Christine, was privately holding back a volcano. Because behind that warmth was a woman who had been left to carry the weight of a collapsing family empire on her own, while the man who was supposed to protect her children instead chose optics, rules, and Robin. And this changes everything. Remember the scene when Isabelle needed surgery? Christine begging for Cody's help, her voice cracking as she explained the logistics. The fear, the financial strain, and Cody, with cold detachment, said it wasn't a good time. He refused to go, not because he was unavailable, but because his ever-shifting COVID rules made it too complicated. But now those rules look like an excuse, a smokescreen. And fans remembering that heartbreak now suspect it wasn't just indifference, it was punishment. Christine had dared to challenge him, dared to prioritize her daughter's health over his ego, and he retaliated by absence. And if there's a voicemail, if that manuscript sentence is real, then the entire Brown family mythology falls apart. We're not just talking about neglect, we're talking about emotional abuse. About a man who, when faced with losing control of a woman, lashed out to silence her. And here's the most terrifying part. It worked for years. Christine didn't speak. She protected the show, protected her kids, and yes, even protected Cody. Until now. Because something inside her must have snapped. Not in rage, not in revenge, but in resolve. That Instagram photo wasn't a mistake. It was a warning shot, a soft detonation, a signal to fans that said, pay attention, the truth is coming, and the internet, it's awake. Fans are combing through old clips, old couch confessionals, old birthday party episodes. They're seeing the signs they once ignored. The way Christine was always placed on the edge of couches. The way her voice was interrupted. The way Cody's body language shifted when she spoke. They're remembering the way he praised Robin while nitpicking Christine. How Robin was a saint, a victim, a queen, and Christine was a problem to manage. The parallels to Meri's emotional isolation are impossible to ignore. Cody doesn't solve problems. He scapegoats women. That's his pattern. That's his brand. But this time, the women are speaking. Janelle, in her own quiet power, has begun backing Christine more openly. Kelty, Tony, even Paden, all dropping hints publicly and privately that this wasn't just a divorce, okay? This was a rescue. And now that Christine's book is on the way, the network is panicking. Cody is spiraling. The cracks are not just visible, they're audible. Because nothing terrifies a manipulator more than the moment his target finds her voice. And this voice, Christine's, it's seismic. 'Cause she's not ranting. She's not retaliating. She's releasing. Slowly, surgically, and with grace. She's letting fans put the pieces together. Letting the old narrative drown in its own contradictions. And every time Cody opens his mouth now, it only confirms what we feared. That the calmest voice in the room was always the most honest. And it wasn't his. And as for that voicemail, if it exists and it ever sees the light of day, it could ruin him. Not just his image, not just his network standing, but his entire legacy. Because Christine Brown, once dismissed as the sweet, but soft-spoken third wife, may end up being the one who brings it all crashing down. And not with drama, not with tantrums, but with truth. So let's not be fooled by blurry screenshots. Let's not dismiss the pixelated edges or the disappearing stories. Because when a woman like Christine, who has spent over 2 decades being erased, edited, and overshadowed, finally begins to intentionally reveal the pieces, we'd be wise to pay attention. Because this isn't just tea. This is history. Think the real story. It's only just begun. Just begun.
I felt pressured into the marriage. I did not know better at the time.
This isn't a messy breakup. This isn't just another reality TV love story gone sour. This, dear viewers, is a pattern. A pattern as visible as the smirk that sometimes dances across Cody Brown's face when he believes he's won, as stark as the divide that's cleaved the Brown family into fragmented emotional territories. And as undeniable as the paper trail now beginning to flood the court system, this is a long-standing habit, Cody demanding control over not just money, not just affection, but over the very narrative of pain. He decides whose grief is allowed to be valid. He determines which emotions are respectable and which are rebellious. For years, this tactic worked. The women around him, bound by faith, family, and fear, swallowed their discomfort in the name of unity. But Christine, sweet, smiling, underestimated Christine, broke the spell. And when she did, it wasn't just a shift in marital status, it was a tectonic upheaval. Because when Christine broke free, she didn't just walk away. She took the script with her, and now, that alleged voicemail, that whispered, pixelated, chillingly hinted at recording, might be the final shattering blow to Kody's decade-long PR campaign. Because we're not just talking about unpaid child support anymore. This isn't just about $100,000 and a conveniently fuzzy Instagram story. No, we are talking about intimidation. About whether Kody tried to silence Christine. About whether he knew long before the cameras stopped rolling that her truth was coming, that she had found her voice, that she was planning to put it on paper, and about whether he tried to crush her story before it ever made it to print. That's the gravity of this moment. This is no longer reality TV. This is real life bleeding through the cracks of carefully edited storylines. For the first time, Christine isn't smiling through it. She's not surviving the storm, she's documenting it, on her terms and her words, not filtered by producers. Not chopped up by editors, not dulled down for prime time, but raw, intentional, and finally, free of Kody's heavy hand. And once a woman starts telling that kind of truth, there's no undoing it. No reshuffling the footage, no hiding behind confessional couches. And the ripple effect. It didn't just shake Kody, it rocked the entire Brown family structure to its brittle bones. You've seen the later seasons, you've felt the tension. You've watched relationships grow thin, brittle, ready to snap with the smallest gust of confrontation. Janelle, always the rational mediator, always the practical calm in the middle of the familial chaos, didn't flinch when the rumors of the leaked photo and its implications began swirling. In fact, fans with a keen eye noticed something quietly revolutionary. Janelle had liked some very pointed, very timely tweets. Tweets that aligned uncomfortably well with Christine's version of reality. That wasn't random. That wasn't carelessness. That was solidarity. Subtle, sure, but unmistakable. And let's not forget Janelle's breaking point. That now iconic argument with Kody about their sons. About his ever-shifting and always self-serving COVID rules. About loyalty and obedience and how he seemed to demand both without offering them in return. She saw the dismissiveness, the gaslighting, the favoritism. And she pulled away, not with rage, but with dignity. And then there's Meri, silent, still watching. Her Instagram page. A graveyard of inspirational quotes and brand collabs, but not a single syllable about Christine. Not a whisper of sympathy. Not a flicker of support. Not even a performative like. And somehow, her silence screams louder than any of Kody's rants. Because silence can mean complicity, or fear, or perhaps just heartbreak so deeply buried that no words remain. Fans are divided. Is she staying quiet to stay out of trouble? Is she still hopelessly entangled in Kody's delusion? Or is she waiting? Waiting for her moment, her own chapter. Her own chance to finally break the silence she's held since the catfishing scandal ripped her heart open on national TV. And then we arrive at Robyn. Oh, Robyn. The once untouchable queen. The golden wife. The tearful, trembling, pedestal-perched partner who cried about fairness while the world tilted in her favor. Robyn's fortress of protection, the shield Kody built for her out of excuses. Favoritism and sacred order is crumbling. Her carefully manicured world is cracking under the weight of truth. Because now rumors are swirling. Garnished paychecks, parenting classes, public records, financial skeletons tumbling out of closets too tightly packed. And guess what? It's not just speculation anymore. Christine's legal documents are making their way into the public domain. And those documents, real, notarized, court-processed, truths are painting a picture that contradicts years of on-screen narrative. Cody isn't the provider, Christine isn't the problem, and Robin, she's not the victim. And the saddest part in all of this, it's not the shattered reputation. It's not the fractured marriages. It's the children. The ones who never signed up for this circus. The ones Christine tried to shield with every ounce of her strength. Isabelle, most especially. Sweet, intelligent, stoic. Isabelle, who had to go under the knife without her father at her side. Who watched her mother cry in quiet corners. Not just from fear, but from the crushing weight of doing it all alone. And now the curtain is being pulled back. The courtroom drama, the financial fallout, the emotional chaos. It's all coming back to haunt the very people who deserved peace the most. God. And they never asked for any of it. Meanwhile, Cody still struts, still postures, still spins the same old tale. The noble leader, the misunderstood patriarch, the visionary builder of Coyote Pass. But behind the SUV wheels and leather jackets is a man unraveling, because the whispers behind closed doors are getting louder. Word is Cody is in a financial tailspin, allegedly exploring bridge loans, desperately searching for quick cash. It's the kind of moves you don't make unless the walls are closing in. And why? Because he knows what's coming. Christine's accusations of unpaid child support hold. If the courts take her side, and let's be real, with documentation, they might. Cody's precious TLC paychecks could be garnished. His last major stream of income siphoned off before it ever reaches his hands. That's not just a financial hit. That's an ego annihilation. And it's almost poetic. Because while Cody was pontificating about dream homes and family legacies, Christine was crowdfunding surgery costs. While Cody was preaching about loyalty, Christine was packing her life into boxes, leaving behind her home, her community, her security, armed only with faith, love for her children, and a determination to begin again alone in Utah, starting over from scratch. But now we know she wasn't just leaving disappointment behind. She was carrying secrets, receipts, evidence perhaps. Even that one thing that could finally collapse the entire Brown family empire. The voicemail, yes, that voicemail. The one spoken of in whispers. The one Christine's leaked manuscript strongly alludes to, the one fans believe could be the smoking gun. The unfiltered moment of rage, so explosive, so undeniable, that it could tip court proceedings, shift custody agreements, obliterate Cody's credibility, and perhaps even cause TLC to reconsider its investment in a family so riddled with dysfunction that it's no longer profitable, but pitiful. Allegedly, this voicemail exists, a recording left in the middle of one of their most volcanic arguments. A message so raw, so threatening, so revealing that Christine kept it. Maybe not for revenge, but for protection. Legal leverage, insurance, or perhaps as a mother and a woman who has been repeatedly silenced. She kept it as her final trump card to be played only when the world needs to hear what really happened. And the thing is, it matches what we've seen. It aligns perfectly with the Cody who shouted on camera. It's a Cody who demanded blind loyalty. It's a Cody who told Christine she was poisoning the family with negativity while he ignored her pain. And now she's done being quiet. She's done being difficult. Jay's done being the villain in Cody's tragic little hero story. Because what we all saw, those late season scenes of Christine smiling while tears welled in her eyes. Her voice quivering as she tried to stay composed. Cody's voice getting sharper, colder, more dismissive. That wasn't a reality TV. Misunderstanding. That was a woman calculating. Wondering, is this really the rest of my life? And if this voicemail does surface, whether in a courtroom, a memoir, a documentary, or a brave late-night Instagram live, it will change everything. Not just for Cody, but for the entire Brown brand. It's the missing puzzle piece. One thing that finally ties together the financial inconsistencies, the emotional neglect, the favoritism, the fury, and the quiet implosions we've been watching for years. and some truths. They don't just hurt, they end empires.